But let's wind it back to a footy talk here. Let's keep us on the straight and narrow here. If we're going into a kind of a topic around kind of what should you do after a game as a celebration, and I don't think anyone really has a problem with going out for team drinks and having a good time. What point does it become a little bit concerning from a cultural standpoint of what happens after games?
Well, if they go have a good time.
Yeah, but at what point is there a line of what's a good time? Should you be going out and getting hammered if you're a paid professional athlete?
Well, yeah. Well, you can't get drunk because you're an athlete.
I'm asking you, at what point's the line?
100% you can. Obviously.
In public?
Police. Yeah, why can't you go and have a beer?
Yeah, that's
or
right.
Go have 100 beers. Why can't you? As long as you don't hurt anyone.
Is there,
Obviously, hurting people or
anything illegal?
Anything illegal
Yeah.
is obviously cross the line,
Yeah.
Common said. But players aren't under different rules than anyone else. They can still go enjoy themselves.
Has there been any change in modern rugby league, do you think, towards less of that, more than that?
Yeah, I don't think players drink a whole heap less.
A lot of clubs commit to no alcohol at all.
I know short turnaround because that becomes a performance base. A lot of players, we used to have rules around short turnaround. So it was if it was 7 days or longer, it was on you. If you want to have a beer, have a beer. If you don't, you don't. Whatever. But it was your sort of call. But short turnarounds, we never used to drink on. So
was it always customary to go out after a win?
For a long time, yeah. Yeah.
Would you go out after a loss as well?
Sometimes.
Would that change? Would the coaches?
Would coaches
go?
You're
not.
It, yeah.
Yeah.
They could, but that was, I suppose, and this was my perception on it. But this was, I used to think that was there's no other job in the world where you go and on a Friday your boss goes and tells you what you can do for the weekend. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I used to find coaches that would try and say, oh, we're not going out, no one's to go out or whatever. They could only do it when you played away because you were coming back to a team hotel. Mm-hmm. If you're at home, they don't know what everyone's doing when they go home. So it was one of those things. But I also think, like anything, the more rules you bring in, the more you treat blokes like children, then the more they act like children. We're all grown adults, they're all old enough to make their own decisions, and you set up a culture where they're making the right decisions for their performance and for what they need to do, then there's no issue.
Would people ever get annoyed at guys going out on the drink after a really bad loss? Would that change it at all?
No, I don't think so, because I actually think at times that can actually be of good value, that it's easy to stick together and, when everything's going good, it's harder to stick together and not break off into little groups and that when things aren't going well. So I think that's sort of, there's a time and place for everything, but I don't think, just me personally, I don't think that a whole alcohol thing has anything based around performance, If you have a beer after the game or go on the drink, then I don't think that affects your performance the next week. No. There's so much that goes under the bridge before next week that how you train and, you can go and get in the drink and then turn up and train the house down all week and go do your job.
Would there be the exception you were 0 blood alcohol, though, every time you turned up to training?
Well, I think when you go and turn up for training, obviously.
So
you
if you've had drinks the night before,
but if you had recovery, so a lot of time, the boys might get in the drink and recovery. There'd be dusty blokes turn up at recovery, but it was getting the ice bath, do your thing,
just
or
a swim or jumping, going down the beach or whatever.
It's sweet, but I don't think anyone's turning up when they're on the field and in the gym and that, and that's normally a few days post. Yeah, you're not turning up. After drinks the night before, I don't think anyone's doing that. Yeah. But after a game, I think,
So would you grab a beer straight away in the dressing room? Was it beers on ice? You'd walk in? Or...
Some we did at Penrith. Penrith was always, when I had finished up there, but again, some guys wouldn't. Some guys would grab, there'd be soft drinks and that, but it wasn't always Cowboys. When I was up there, Cowboys always did. If they had a win and
sponsors
that,
probably helped.
Yeah, 4X sponsor.
Cold beer after that
But-
Townsville humidity as well would go down a treat. Yeah.
How'd you go,
They had,
how'd you go with the 4X?
Hey?
How'd you go 4X?
Easy, mate. Say half strength, mate, for those pussies up north.
What's your drink of choice then?
Mate, Carlton Dry a lot, you know. Yeah, Carlton Dry is normally mine.
Dry the go-to?
Or me Strider that I bought into at one point.
How's that going?
They've sort of stepped back. There's too many regulations and that at the moment over that, so we're sort of branching into different areas, but going all right, mate.
Where were we? Okay, drinking. Who were the all-timers? Which club did you have the most fun at? And can you share any boys that used to lead the charge?
I think it was all. What do we have? Throughout, it's like different. Like obviously the early days. I think by the time I got to Penrith, it was probably when it was. Especially there were a lot of those boys were younger, and I was sort of back end, and there was probably a bit of a gap. So between the new age guys that would come through that didn't drink, and after they'd have a beer, but then you'd be like, oh, we're having a beer tonight. And, oh no, we went out last night. Oh, they might space them out. But a lot of the time before that, I'd have beers pretty much after every game. I thought that was part of it.
Yeah,
that was part of it for a long part of it. Like, you'd play a game and then you go home and go out for a beer with the boys. And
Would the coaches usually come out with you, or depend on the coach?
Two different things. Like Billy Ake used to come out with boys sometimes, and then would leave, have his time. Robbo would be the same. Like he'd come for a beer every now and then they'd sort of go off before it all sort of went. Got a bit later. They'd sort of come at the start and then take off and stuff like that. So I haven't even remember we had night over at Auckland and that, and I was out and have a beer and then the same.
Were the obligations post game like Penrith to go back to Panthers or Sharks to go back to the club, or it's not really a thing anymore?
We used to at the Roosters all the time. We used to go back to the Leagues Club. Sharks, no. Sharks, did we?
Was there even a club?
Sharks we did. We did have a section up there we used to go over to, yep. We did have a bit of the Sharks. Geez, you're testing me memory. Or maybe I just went because I wanted to. No, but yeah, I'm pretty sure then we'd go, or whether they had a few guys we had to go back. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we used to go over to Panthers. Like it was across there and then we wander. Yeah, pretty sure. So most of them, I think, yeah, we used to do something.
Was that almost the best time to kind of hash things out as well? If there was something that you weren't liking what you're seeing or something wasn't working, would that be the best time to kind of hash things out and get on the same page with teammates?
I think you can do it any time. I don't think it has to be on the piss after. After a game, like it can be early in the week at training, and yeah, I don't know if that's a more appropriate time than anything. Like obviously, sometimes if you're on the drink, there's some guys that'll say stuff that they might not if they didn't. They might voice an opinion which is fine because you actually get out what needs to be getting out. If they're holding back an opinion. So
and well, at the extreme end, how are the premiership celebrations? Which one was the best there?
No, they were both very good. Cronulla went nuts, but then Roosters were big too. Always. They're never a small one, I think. After you win a comp.
What time did you get to bed the next day?
The next day.
I was disappointed if it was only the next day.
Yeah, I didn't get to bed the next day.
Not the following night. You didn't go?
Nah, I would always be like on the Sunday game. So it was probably early hours Tuesday morning by the time I was sort of.
So you're out Sunday night and Monday night, you'd back up, and then early hours Tuesday, you'd finally crash.
Yeah, sometimes that'd sort of. Well, normally after everything closed, you get through to that. Oh, where else to go? And if there was nowhere to go, you get to that time, you go. Oh well, oh bummer. Let's go.
How long was that type of sleep too? Was that one where you'd sleep through a good 12, 14 hours, or you'd still kind of sleep normal length?
Just depend. Yeah, have a sleep. Obviously, a bit dusty, and then sometimes, depending on what it was, you wake up and go for another beer again. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's off season then.
you've got nothing to do. So, and especially if you just won, mate, the party continues.
Any Group 1 stayers that'll be there at close with you?
Yeah, there was a lot of boys. There was plenty that was still out. Like I remember Dylan Napa, he was during the Roosters. Woody Cordner was there. Jake Friend, there's plenty. And then it was same with Cronulla, I think. Like, he's had sort of Wado and Gowers, and even actually I remember Cronulla. Boys would go like once you had to sleep, and then there was stuff, and it sort of happened both premierships. Like the whole week becomes a bit of a thing. Guys come and then come back for somewhere else and meet the next night, and it just sort of goes. Yeah, invites and guys come and go at different times, and then lob back in. So it sort of goes a week long.
We probably should talk about which teams might be celebrating this year now.
Yeah, I think there's only 3 of them.
Only 3?
Yeah,
who
that's right.
After this weekend, you would have seen the Roosters-Panthers game. You saw Warriors pretty dominant over Brisbane. Who's your competition favourite now?
I still think Penrith would be deserved favourites. Like Roosters are playing the right sort of footy. Whether they need to maybe ease off, like they've been, how many of the games they've won on the trot now, like 5 or 6?
Yeah,
or
something like that.
5,
something like that. Like whether they need to dip or whatever, I don't know. But they've obviously got the star power. Like they probably got.
They've almost got away with it
double-digit-
because they've been able to rest Teddy. They've been able to filter a few through
So
as well.
so you think Roosters had that really good performance over Penrith, but they were still missing Tedesco and Tupou.
And still missing Angus Crichton too.
Yeah, but he won't be back, will he?
End of the year. Yeah.
You might not
Really?
get a start.
I thought I ran in. I thought he was done.
Early finals, I think.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, right.
You can fact check me. I'm pretty sure it's
Oh,
early finals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought he was done. I remember catching up with him not long ago, and he was still scooting around on a boot. And
Yeah, I think he's meant to be back. Well,
Yeah,
you
right.
might have more insight than me, but I
but
think
then
it's-
they like Penrith really, like Penrith.
Potential finals.
yeah.
Penrith have still got Yo potentially. Not sure where Yo's at. Mitch Kenny, who I think's very underrated for them, and Casey McLean, who is a freak coming through. Like
Potentially back this week, Casey.
they've still got some guys coming back.
The Roosters have the Tigers this week too, so it could be a chance to really put the feet up and
To
rest a couple. Yeah.
Be interesting to see. Robbo knows that. How to get him right at the right time. He's done it plenty of times before. Caught up with Robbo actually on Friday, all the 2013 boys. We went and had a lunch down at the Rocks, and they were there. So he was
You
very
get home
happy.
the next day, or
Very happy. I was home that night. But yeah, no, he was in good spirits, and mate, they're going really well. Mate, they've got a great roster. They always do. Like if you look, they're probably double-digit representative players across there. So, if they're playing the right style of footy, which they are defensively, they were very good. I think that's why you limit it to pretty much them, Panthers and Waz, because I think over the course of the season, there've been some really good, like Warriors versus Penrith, Warriors, Roosters, Panthers, like all those games around those sides. There's been some real high-intensity games where a lot of footy's been played, but the defence has been, like the score has been low scoring, despite, and I don't think any other clubs at the moment can do that defensively. You probably got the fourth side there as the Dolphins. Attacking wise, good, but whether they're on the same level defensively, I don't know.
Bit like Cronulla, isn't it? Where they can score a lot of points, but they also can put in some bludgers defensively, and that costs you.
Well, I think Cronulla, depending on what happens with Trindle there,
Doesn't look good either.
That's a big out for them. Like they just look such a better side when Trindle is controlling the side, and Nico. Just plays around off him, and I think even the little signs once Trindle was off, they just sort of struggled to find their groove a little bit. But hopefully they can still finish all right, and hopefully, depending on what happened, like apparently it sort of went back in. I think those you can sort of nurse them, try and strengthen up the joint. Like if he needs surgery, you can delay it till after the season and try and get back for it, strap it up. So
yeah, I mean, obviously Dewey and May tried, but Jerome Luai won the comp basically with a strapped up arm. I think Cleary was similar. Cooper Cronk. So
yeah, there's different players. Yeah, you can do it, and obviously depending on how much damage it does going out and in and all that. But yeah, if you know, okay, it's going to have to get tidied up or whatever, and I can postpone it, especially if you're in with a shot. And I think if he had the option, if that came back to do it, I reckon that's the way he goes. So hopefully he's still there. They might just give him a rest for a few weeks, wait for finals, and then he might play.
I think that's right. He was apparently pretty keen to go back on the weekend, and then the trainer basically stepped in and went, no, like don't. What's the need? What are we doing? You know what I mean? Because he apparently pretty much went straight out and it was popped right back in nice and easy. But if you're a trainer, you're not wanting to take any risks. Yes, you're pushing for top 4, but at the end of the day, they still would have hoped they could have got it done in that game without him. Unfortunately, they didn't for their sake. But, yeah, I think I'd be surprised if he's named later today, but you never know. It didn't sound like it was too bad. I don't think it's like the Yowie one where there's a few mind games going on at Penrith where they're not really saying what it is and not really saying what the prognosis is, which
I don't think it's mind games. I just think
I reckon it's I would be...
Why? Why does anyone need to know?
Yeah.
Like you're not going to go put a target on his thing and going, oh, look, it's barely hanging on like he's it's a need-to-know basis. There's a problem with you journos, mate. You all think you got a right to know. You don't need to know everything. You just take, mate. If you don't need to know, he's there. You'll find out when he gets back when he's named. I think that's why, literally, it's like, but because people don't say it, it's like, but there's no need to know. What do Penrith get out of telling everyone what's happening with him? They gain nothing. So why tell them?
There's also a difference.
That's fine. I don't know. I think it's I do get what you're saying there. I don't know. I think it's one of those things where I like, even if you take away from the journo side as a fan, if you're a Panthers fan, you want to know what's going on with Yowie. You want to know if he's playing. I think there's a public interest in injuries. You hear the bloke on social media, the NRL physio, the Brian Seeney, who basically his comments, he's just a physio that loves the game, and he runs, I don't know if you've seen an NRL physio account, and he is adored, and I love his analysis from just a pure fan perspective to kind of understand the injuries and what it means and all of those things. And so I think when you look at things like this, it's just, it is good to know from a fan perspective what's going on. Is he coming back? What's happening? And you got your super coaches and all these other things that people are interested in.
Do you think Ivan Cleary
he doesn't
gives
give a
two
rat's.
hoots about your super coach?
Not a
No
rat's.
idea. So that's why.
Just quietly, I wish he did. It might help me. But I think it's one of those things, right, where there's no problem with it, but I do think there's always public.
There is public interest, but is that a concern to us as a club or as a coach? Or
not at all.
We're trying to think. It's not. So it's like, do you want to know what happens with injuries? Well, when the season's done, you'll find out. We can tell you all what he went through or whatever. Mm-hmm. But why do you need to know? It's just everyone wants to know for pure, we want to know. Well, that's good. But you don't need to. So unlucky. It's just...
There's also the element of, I guess, the wagering dollar. People have the most information they can in a game, so relying on all gambling income.
And that's
but
why,
it's not Ivan Cleary's problem.
You get your team list, don't you?
Team of Clary.
So that's when you get it. Anything else, and even you argue that anything else that becomes debatable. How do you get information before him, and then that becomes a grey area as well. So
that's where I reckon the mind game. When I say mind games will come in. I would expect. I wouldn't say the next. Probably not. Wouldn't say this week, probably not next week, but I reckon he's one that'll start being named on the extended bench, whereas I don't think there's a chance he plays from, if it sounds like a peck, which it is, I don't know how he's going to play with that, because if he does, realistically, if you're an opposition, you're going to hit that shoulder as much as possible, especially someone that digs so deep into the line. But
I don't think you can't really. Now, mind you, I think we've seen them relax that rule as well, across different games. Whereas always, if a ball had been left in any contact, it used to be pulled up every time. I think now we're getting a bit back.
Pretty much, unless it's a kick.
Is good. We found, like we always tend to do, they go this stupid overreaction, and then now we start coming back and they go, oh, geez, that's pretty much right as he's given it or whatever. But we're even starting to see some that are reasonable force and a let go, which is better for our game because it's been a bit of a joke. You still can't tap them when they're this far off the ground, but so go figure.
We saw
the bunker blowing up.
I was going to say we saw some across the whole weekend. We saw some bunker decisions.
Mitch
Moses copping one there, and what's it called? Going to the bunker, I guess. Captain's challenge to get a high shot to win Parramatta the game. We saw the disruptor come back for the first time in 18 rounds or something.
That was the one. Was that
the
the
one that
Panthers?
needs to
Yeah, so Marcus
was
jumped
it.
with one hand.
Yeah, because I seen that because one of the tries should have been a try really.
It was a try.
and then was disrupt mate.
And
Mate, the bunker, it's got no idea. Whoever, everyone
most
talks
frustrating-
about the bunker, like the actual concept of having a bunker that can move. That's fine. It's the idiot in the bunker who's got no idea. Like, what's doing?
I don't understand how they cracked that out. And I got more frustrated because I think it was 2 sets later off a dropout. Tom Jenkins went up with one arm to get the ball back for Penrith, and it was play on. There's not a single issue.
Well, do you know what even we just said about some of those hits after the fact or whatever? Even now, you start seeing, which again is good that our game is doing it. Guys like trying to go down with a crusher or they try and get up slow and the refs just sit there and go, I know what you're doing, mate. I'm not blowing time off. Play the ball. Yeah. Like, let's go. Whereas, so we've taken all that out, but then, so it's all, to me, that is almost like, no, I'm not copping that. I won't blow time off. You just play the ball because I'm not sending it to the bunker because maybe the bunker will make one of these stupid decisions because then Mitchell Moses. And the crazy thing is, like a game that we were literally talking about the other week about how they don't take any perspective or it's just they try and do it black and white. Like, there's contact with the head. Mate, there's contact with the head when he's this far off the ground, falling down, and it's like a tiniest little bump. But the problem is that Mitchell Moses can challenge that and know or think in his head like, oh yeah, sweet, we'll get that.
Because they have to say it's contact to the head.
Yeah, but
you've seen other instances where they'll go, well, the knock-on happened first, so bad luck.
And then they also say, it was mitigated circumstance. They've started ruling that now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's dropped, but it was mitigated circumstance, which is where we should be. That's where our game should be. So why is the idiot in the bunker, like when we're starting to make all those calls, when a guy is this high off the ground, why is he then going, I'm not going to rule it like like we've started to rule every other decision that is how it should be.
And wait till one of those calls decides the finals knockout match, right? And that's...
Well, it's just a bad look for our game. Like, it's forever, like the fact that, a player can challenge that with such conviction knowing that will get overturned. Yeah. But then in all other areas of the game, we've gone back to finding the balance and going, okay, there's not much he can do about that. Because we went through a period where anyone brushed the head, fine. Yeah. You know what I mean? There was one actually someone went through step on a fullback or something. It was like a loose arm, and they went, and he actually got him high, but it was incidental, nothing. And the ref just went, nah, play on.
Yeah, I know you're talking
so
about
we did it. So, and that's probably the annoying thing which people get frustrated about with consistency because you need to just have some common sense. Like, can we not just ref the game with common sense? Like,
it's a bit like they've gotten better at too. The put downs where they have to slow down to the fingertip stuff. If they've put it down. Like if you can't find a reason without in the first replay, just let play on with the grounding. Like, that shits me as well.
Yeah, well, there's a heap where they go through 6 million replays. Like,
yeah, I honestly think it should be unless it's referred, it should be 30 seconds. If you can't find anything in 25, 30 seconds, play on.
Yeah.
The other one, actually, speaking of bunkers, just while you rolled up there, did you see the Stephen Crichton, Ashley Klein incident?
Yeah, see that? I didn't see it live, but I obviously went back and watched it. I reckon... So, again, I don't know the rule. Like, obviously, comes into contact. But I reckon looking at it live, like Critta had a lot of space around him, and it looked like who was running the guy, whoever was running.
De Silva?
No, it was back row.
Oh, sorry,
I think.
wrong
I
team.
can't remember who his name was.
Whoever was going to go, it looked like he was going out. So Critta was actually going out, and then he hit Klein, and he actually beat him in. And then did he hold
scored.
him up? Oh, he did.
He
score.
scored
Yeah,
pretty much
right.
untouched because
that's what
he's gone this way and then the dummy half's gone.
Yeah, well, that's
the other
why
way.
I thought if Klein wasn't there for him to go into it, he probably goes further away.
Yeah.
Well, did it
And
get ruled back actually? Because
It was a mutual infringement, so he come back and
because
play
he
the
came
ball.
back, but he
contact.
would have scored. Yeah,
He would have scored. But
Made contact, but
and again, it's in slow motion. It looked like Stephen Crichton knew if he touched Klein, they were going to go back and play the ball.
I don't reckon. I've never really seen it. I don't reckon you'd know that. I reckon it just looked like he felt like he got back slow. It was a fast play. The ball, he turned, and there was a lot of space. And as he went, as a guy ran, he went, "Oh, I've got to go this way," and then the runner, he changed direction based on that. He went, Crichton's going out, bang, I'm coming in, and then it was like caught up. But I reckon if Klein's not there, he goes further because there's no one
agree.
actually stopping him.
Yeah.
So he goes further out. But again, this is where they come in with a black and white rule, like, he's gonna we can't do it because that was involved and he had contact with an official. Like, bit of common sense, like, was he going to score? Yeah, he was going to score. Shoots a try. Like, the refs can't move. The refs have got to be somewhere. If it was like he's trying to get past the ref or something like that, it's a different story. But
I think Klein did from memory, when he referred it up, I'm pretty sure he said, I think it's a mutual infringement. I've interfered with him. So Klein deemed it was his fault that Stephen Crichton couldn't. So therefore,
Which
like,
is
if
what the
you're the
ruling was.
But can
but
the
therefore-
bunker? Can you not go? Well, no, you haven't, mate, because he's scored there and he's going that way to hit you. He's going the opposite direction. Like,
Yeah, but he'd probably still award no try. We know what actually Klein does when the bunker tells him one thing,
Wow, that's very controversial, Ben. Very controversial.
What do you think of DCE in that game as well? Just need a couple more thoughts just back on the Chooks. His value's starting to come through there now. I thought he was outstanding.
Yeah, he was. Well, he scored the 2 tries. He's just got that calm head under pressure. I think even you've seen some now, Sammy Walker at different times in the games, realising the value in kicking early and leading a kick chase, which I don't really think was a big part of Sammy's game.
Do you reckon that's come from Origin?
I think that's a strength of Daly's game, is that he could understand that momentum shift and how much value you could get out of an early kick down into space, and I think he's just given them a nice calm head, similar to when they signed Cronk, a season 7. That's why you sign him in it for the back end of games. When it comes down to big games, a cool head to just steer around and do it. Like early on, there were some question marks around Cherry and that defensively in that area, but they haven't been leaking many points. So the defence is on, and then you get the benefit of him. 300 odd games at the highest level. Like that's gonna be beneficial when you go into big games and close games as well. How many times does he kick field goals and things like that? So. Yeah, they're sitting pretty, the Roosters.
The other frustrating thing I thought was their defence was offside for a good chunk of that second half when Penrith had that red zone attack. And it ticks again, and it seems like we've forgotten that, they used to see the sin bin, but they were happy to just give away every second tackle, give away an offside penalty to sort of scramble and shut down Cleary. Any thoughts on that?
Well, Penrith have done that for years too.
Yeah, that's true.
The good defences, and they play, and we went. They knew that, and there was times where they started to go, well, okay, repeated infringements on your goal line, we're going to bin players, because they knew the better sides. They go, if we don't allow a quick play the ball, doesn't matter what they throw, we'll defend everything.
Yeah.
So we're happy to just give away because how many penalties are you going to blow? And that's the question.
Do you just accept that as part of the game now?
Yeah, they go, well, how many are you going to blow? And the ref isn't like, how many is he going to blow? We've seen time and time again, and Penrith were very good at it too. Like defensively, they were so strong on their goal line. They win it, made sure everything's slow. We do it. So the good sides, they play the game, and that's your goal line defence is obviously so important. If you can defend your try line well, it can actually double down because while you get 6 again, it actually becomes harder to attack on constantly. Like it's harder to, or you can orchestrate a 6 tackle set. It's all right, and especially when you're moving down the field and you're rolling onto the ball. When you're on the try line and you're not rolling down the field and you've got to push through and you've got to reload all the way back, and you're doing 15 tackles in a row, blah blah blah, and the defense is just going, yeah, sweet, we're good. So those good defenses don't matter. They don't matter if we get a try a penalty, because they know so long as it's not a fast play, the ball in our line set, we'll stop everything. Yeah. And
I suppose there's a lot of, because then they go straight to a crash play because it's the first tackle again.
And they slow down, they go bang, we go back to the process and we just do it. So, and that can be frustrating from an attacking perspective because you go, they've had X amount of tackles in their half, but you go, yeah, but it's different because it's constantly stop-start, and we're not playing off any momentum, which is all we want as a half. All you want is to play off the back of momentum. Now you don't get it because they just constantly lay down there. So it becomes a harder spot to attack from. I think that's why this, early kicks and that have become so valuable down that end because you put a fullback in the line, so now straight away you're 13 on 13. And then guys will split their markers because they don't need 2 markers because you're right on the try line. No point having 2 guys behind each other, so the 2 markers go there, so your A's go a bit wider, so you actually cover the field better than you do anywhere else on the field. So it's just part and parcel until they sort of come up with a, I don't know if it's a blanket rule across the thing, three infringements, and it's been floated before because this topic has come up about good sides defending. Do you pull someone off till the end of the set, or try? Do you look at something like that? Because the good sides that have their good defensive system in play constantly do it, and Penrith were very good at it for a long time. So it's hard now to go, hold on, Roosters are doing that now. Well, Penrith have done it for years and been really good. So
and before then, Melbourne did it with the slowing down the play of the ball and laying all over the ball.
And everyone, whatever they do, and that's how. Obviously, you've still got to defend every play, but if your defence is in order and you're not moving back an extra 10 metres, so it's not costing you more. Like obviously the 6 agains and all that, when you're retreating 10 metres and going, you don't have that 10 metre retreat now. You're just going back to your line. So then you go off the line and you're back, then you're there. So it's not a huge taxing energy wise. Some might argue it's more taxing from an attacking perspective, where you've got to run a genuine line, so you actually hold defence up to try and score, and then you've got to retreat behind the ball. Then you've got to run a good line before, because as soon as you stop running those lines properly, well, then you're not going to score anyway, because then you're not going to hold defences up like you need to. So that becomes almost more of a challenge from an attacking perspective, and your halves are trying to swing around and work out where you're going, and your defence is just going like this, up, down, we're sweet, we're all good. So I think it's sort of, the good sides that can defend their line off slow play the balls, they'll do it all the time.
So as a half, what are you looking at in that situation? As you said, early kicks have become kind of the norm now, trying to break those defensive lines open nice and early. As a halfback, when you're seeing those people that are a couple of metres offside going early, you're trying to attack in that kind of red zone, what are you looking to do to break down that defence?
Well, the hard thing is, because we 6 again them, that we don't penalise them. If you penalise them, you can kick 2 points and go, okay, we'll just knock 2 over, then we'll just take 2.
Again.
If you do it again, because you go, this is just going to happen, and you see them go 6 again, 6 again, 6 again. but you don't get as an attacker, you don't get any benefit of it.
Yeah.
So why? So whether I reckon we probably need to go back to penalties on the try line are a penalty. Because then you give sides the option to go.
Or
okay,
even after 2 or 3, like after the third, just go right. I've had enough. It's a penalty. Have enough of this penalty.
And sort of do it, because otherwise they just it'll keep happening, and you just can't get any. You know, you got to just keep trying to find ways to create momentum. But as soon as you think you've got it, they stop it again. 6 more. Oh shit! Well, here we go. We'll go again. So it makes it very hard. And as I said, if I was sort of playing, and you're in a good side, and if you know a side is so good defensively there, then at least if they're infringing, you get the option to go, okay, we'll just take 2, and then we'll go back, and we'll go, and if we get down there again, bang, we'll take 2. Whatever they're doing it, we'll just pop up by 2, and we'll hold our line as well, and we'll be sweet, and if you get that a couple of times, then next minute that constitutes a try, you kick a few of that, 2 of them. That's like scoring a try. So, but yeah, I think maybe that's something I haven't really thought about until just talking about now. But I think that's maybe where we need to get back to blowing penalties on the try line, so that you've got the option, or whether I don't know whether you have 6 again. I don't think you can do it on the run. I was thinking like if they go 6 again, and like with Captain Challenge, they go bang, we want to take 2 or something, but that becomes too hard. I think just go back to blowing it. You can do all the other stuff to speed it up, but I think down there we need to look at it, because from an attacking perspective, you get nothing out of it. Where and you're not conceding any points, so you can constantly make infringement after infringement, and you're not costing yourselves anything. Whereas at least if they go, 2, there's 2. If it's that can be a big thing. Even if you kick 1, and then someone scores and you're behind by 2, again, they can't just keep laying on it, because bang, then you even a game up and all this sort of stuff.
Well, especially in a game like this where it was 6-all for a big chunk, or 12-6, it makes a difference.
How many infringements, like how many times did, say, Penrith get down there and there was a 6 again?
Yeah, plenty.
So if you go, okay, bang, if that went 2 points and that happened again, they got down there a different time, 2 points, 2 points, then how does that look now? It can look so different. So I think it gives you the option, because it's very hard to attack against when all you want to attack off is momentum, and they just refuse to give it to you, because we'll actually give away penalty, we'll infringe before we give you what you're after. So
Do you think teams also get stuck in the mentality of kind of, once you get a 6 ago, almost restarting your kind of attack plan, where you go kind of the hit the short ball, the prop, then you do a bit of a spread and you turn the back row to centre under and start trying to work the line every single time? Because it's really rare that you get like a 6 to go and they go, all right, like you would on the 4th, let's really spread it wide. Like it's kind of like, let's do a kind of settle couple of plays. Do you think teams get a little caught in that as well?
Well, you can also get if you try and just do it, because as I said, all you want to play off is momentum. And if you're not playing off momentum, so they give you a 6 again, then to just go sideways, 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 and then you lose again, then sideways. Like sides can get very, very sideways. It's probably the easiest spot on the field to get real sideways in your attack, because you don't have that 10-metre buffer for you to go forward and hold it up. So it's the only place on the field where the defence can basically dictate to you, because you're not getting off the line and going at them. They're coming off their line going at you. So, it's hard. I think there's different ways. I think you need to be able to manipulate defenders in the line and, throw stuff at them and ask questions of defenders while playing through the defence rather than trying to get an overlap around them. It does make it hard when, against a good defence, it just will refuse to give you a quick play the ball. And because, as I said, as a half, that's always your key. It's like, bang, we're moving them around, we're trying to do stuff so we can get momentum. They're not set, now we can go at them, because that gives us that one chance where we're going a bit more at them rather than the defence sort of coming at us.
I guess you've said that there's only 3 chances now in terms of the top well, in terms
Or
of premiership
winning,
hopes.
Yeah, I think so.
Benny, where are your Knights at? Knights and Souths for the next couple? I think
I
the
think
rest of
kind of
cannon
that next
fodder.
tier, I reckon.
I think,
Dolphins
Dolphins
are in there.
Yeah.
So,
Dolphins.
so 3.5.
Knights are sitting well. I just think they're good attacking. I think. I just think they can. Sometimes they make too many errors, and I'm still question mark about whether they're at the same level defensively as those top
Even
ones, as I
conceding
said.
30 against the Titans isn't a great look, really, at the end of this.
I think watching us week in, week out religiously, I think our big issues are kind of in those gaps where you get your half, your back rower and your centre. And I think a lot of the time, like, we haven't had our full back line basically all year because someone's missing. So it's like you take Bradman Best out of that team, who's a very good defensive centre, which makes Greg Marju outside him look better defensively because that's what defensive centres do. You throw Fletcher Hunt in there, who's a full back in, coming up through the ranks that's now trying to learn to defend at centre with someone that makes a few questionable decisions out of him. You chuck Sandon Smith in there, who's, I think, got a lot better as the year went through. I think he got found out a bit defensively in the Chook system because he was that little half kind of coming up that's known for his attacking flair. But then, you got two young back rowers. You got McEwen, you got Manu Leilua. Like, you've got a lot of youth and a lot of players that aren't used to defending in the NRL as a whole, right? And you're trying to put that all together. And I think, therefore, it's understandable that there's these defensive weaknesses. And I think all of it kind of comes out wide. But at the end of the day, I think, this is a team that people need to remember is the wooden spoon, coming from being the wooden spooners and have made massive strides. But what team do you ever see go from a wooden spoon one year to the next year challenging for a premiership?
Yeah, no.
Like this is a stepping stone year where if they don't get knocked out, like let's say they finish 6th or 7th, if you win your first finals game, it's a massive success already.
100%.
Right, like that's making finals is a huge success. If you win a game in finals, huge success. There's your building blocks. You get Dylan Lucas back. You get Dylan Brown back next year. You've got a team that's another year more experienced. You're going to lose Dane Gagai, and I think that's probably about it. I think they're stretched to maybe keep Frizzell. I hope they do, but that's going to be a salary cap decision. But you've got a core unit that's another year on. You've got a lot of promising young back rowers. Toby Winter, who debuted in the centres, was brilliant on the weekend, coming on when Dane Gagai got injured. I think he's going to be the guy that replaces Gagai next year over Fletcher Hunt, but we'll see. Like, I think there's a lot of promise in that team, but people need to be reasonable in the sense that I think people still think we're semi what we were last year, which was just not a good team. But we're also not a premiership contender. We're a team that's playing good football, got a great team to watch attacking-wise because we score a lot of points. It's really entertaining, but it's still a team that's building. It's not a team that's at its peak and we've got to try and win a premiership this year. It's a team that is being built up brilliantly by Holbrook. So in the next 3 to 5 years, this team is right there to really put itself in the hunt for a premiership. And I think he's done that really well.
Is he coach of the year, Holbrook?
I think he has to be.
Got a tip for coach of the year?
Yeah, it'd be very hard to go past. Like, he's done a really good job, especially when you consider, some of the guys they've had out at different stages and everyone went, oh, look, they've been good, but now they're missing. Ponga missed a section, like Dill Brown missed section, Dill Lucas, now Bradman Best has missed periods. So a lot of their top guys have missed periods and they've just sort of kept finding a way to get job done. As I said, I think they play a lot of good footy, like where they're getting behind the ball and getting into position early to throw shape at sides from further down the field. I think at the moment there's a lot of sides that defend because it is down the field. They're defending more passive, and that's getting a lot of them caught out. I think you'll see some of the top sides. I think if you're playing in Newcastle in those big games, I think there'll be more defensive pressure when they're trying to move the ball, and then that will really see where they're at, because you rather than run into things, you try and play your play and move the ball wide, and then defensive pressure push you backwards, and then you've got to go off that. Then your set has to restart. That will be the challenge, how they approach a game where they're sort of lacking, or a good side is putting some more defensive pressure on them.
I don't know what the numbers are, but in the red zone, I don't think the Knights' attack in the red zone has been great. Like, so many of the tries are coming from down the field. They're coming from our own half or just inside, the opposition territory. And I think that's one of the things, like when you said, when that line's coming up, when you're trying to attack 10 out and they're getting off their line early and they're coming up in your face, that's actually where the Knights are struggling to break down defences. Whereas when you've got that forward momentum off a good hit up or kind of a strong back row run, and then you can switch and you can go attack the other side, and you've got pace on pace on pace from Ponga to Sharp to Best. Like, you've got so many threats, and that's where the Knights' attack looks really smooth and really dangerous. Whereas if you're able to set your line like you're talking about before, the good sides know how to rush up on your Pongas, how to rush up on your Sandon Smiths, your Dylan Browns when he was there, and really make the Knights have to work through you as opposed to let's spread it wide and get you kind of one-on-one isolated. And I think that's probably an area where Holbrook will definitely be concentrating a lot of the preseason attack in, is how do we convert those opportunities when we're kind of camped in the final 20.
Yeah, I think also, but when you go to semi-final games, the most part of it, because it becomes the refs stop blowing as many penalties and it's a more just end-to-end sort of game. So the fact that they can get behind the ball and they get their footy on off those kick receptions and that is a big plus. I said, because that's where a lot of the game is played, and that's where you see a game like the Roosters and Panthers and that, despite it being defensive based, there was still sides getting back and they were still attacking, whereas I think there's other sides that you just don't see much attack if it's constantly kicked down behind you. It takes 2 or 3 plays before everyone gets back. They don't get into shape quick enough and they can't sort of get their footy on. And, those sides that wait for a penalty or even a 6 again, something like that, to give them more tackles or whatever to get them on the front foot, that just sort of makes it too hard in those big games where a lot of the footy is just end-to-end footy, and that's where you need to be able to get behind the ball, get your stuff on and get your footy on.
Lastly, I saw today, it came out, I think Christian Nicolucci reported on the back of something you mentioned last week about players having control over their own future in terms of waivers. Corey Huira-Naira basically attempted to do that, to sign a waiver to abscond the Raiders of any fault if he came back. The cardiologists apparently cleared him, said, yep, we're happy with it, but the Raiders just said, no, not happening. Any thoughts on that? I know you discussed it in detail last week, but I guess we've seen in the proof in the pudding that the NRL, actually the NRL weren't aware of it, but Canberra basically said, no, not happening.
Obviously, Canberra, probably that's their call, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he...
and it's to protect themselves, I guess, to protect them.
And if they go, well, that's fine, but we're not comfortable with it, they obviously probably know more about it, and because he had some bad ones, Corey, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like did he have something happen on the field?
Collapsed, basically on the field.
So there's stuff like that. So as we sort of said, that becomes the clubs or the that's their decision too. But it's like signing a player. You don't have to sign him. No one's making you sign him. Right. But whether that should be taken completely out of their hands by like an NRL, that's sort of my thing. If a club goes, oh, we don't want to take that risk, that's fine. That's the club. That's like them saying, well, we don't, for any sort of reason. That's them. Corey's saying, I want to take the risk, or I'm happy with this, that. I think he's entitled to do that. I think the club is entitled to say, well, okay, that's fine, but not with us. That's completely.
But do your best somewhere else.
Yeah, I just, my thing would be the NRL organisation over the top coming in and saying, no, you're blacklisted, you can't anywhere. I think that's a bit over the top, because I think, why do we not, as players, have, the discussion, and whether they, a club might go, okay, well, hold on, we're interested in you, we're happy to go, but we also want to sit down with you. We want to sit down with, see, your history and what's happened. And then if they go, he's happy with it, we're happy with it, okay. Like if it's been signed off by certain people and you've, everything's been explained, like that's completely fine. Everything's gone by the books. Everyone knows the risk and what's happened. We've had expert opinions here and there. Why doesn't the player then have... his option. So yeah, more where that come from, I suppose.
No,
See
well,
what
the
happens.
next one might be, I guess, Tui Kamakamika, if he is indeed to come back, I think, from the stroke or something akin to a stroke. So that might be the next one. I haven't heard anything, Benny, have you?
No, nothing on that.
It's been pretty quiet, actually. But he might be the next one in a similar situation. And he caught your eye in the week ahead. There's a few games which will have some implications of finals. The Dolphins play the Eels to try and wrap up fourth spot. Penrith play the Storm as they try and chase down the Roosters, and the Bunnies and the Warriors is an interesting game, probably the game of the round.
Yeah,
at
I
this
had
stage.
a look at the fourth because I think Dolphins are probably the one. There's a couple that I think they've got an easier run. I think
So
Cronulla-
Dolphins have the Eels, they've got the Roosters in 2
Yeah.
weeks, and then the Titans.
Yep. So they got if you sort of go, they'll win Eels and Titans. So if you blank out Roosters, but Cronulla, who are one win behind,
Yep.
they've got a tougher run.
Yeah, so they've got, I wrote this down, they've got the Titans, they've got the Titans, Eels, and Storm,
Yeah.
but no
Titans.
Trindle. So it's not a bad run.
It's not a bad
Oh,
run.
sorry, no, yeah,
Other way
they
around,
have got
so
it
you-
right,
yeah.
and they've got a.
The interesting one might be the
Knights and Cowboys
the Roosters
have
actually
Knights,
have.
sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
Knights
Knights
are the
have
one.
they've got a bye, so they only got 2 games.
Yeah.
I think one hard one.
They got the Warriors not this week, next week
Yeah.
in Auckland, but it also depends, is that the week that the Warriors will choose to rest people?
So the Warrior,
I still think it's a big.
Oh, it's a tough
Yeah.
game regardless,
Yeah,
right?
so
Especially over in
but
Auckland.
I think that will make it hard because they got the bye, and other than who have they got?
So Warriors have the Bunnies this week, the Knights, then
right, so
Manly.
Bunnies, Knights, Manly.
And Roosters actually have the Tigers, who they might put 100 on. The Dolphins and Rabbitohs, which is always that interesting clash at the end of the year. So the minor premiership race isn't really over just
No.
yet. Penrith has Storm, the Bulldogs, Tigers. So they could blitz all 3 of those
Yes.
if they turn up.
Yeah, there's not much between because there's only one win in it. Roosters 1 win clear of
Yep.
Panthers.
And then Warriors are now 10 points behind on points differential. So if they win, if they put a job on one of these teams, they can almost jump into second spot.
Still there. I think the most to gain from top 2 is the Wars.
100%.
So I don't think, because if they finish top 2, they win. They can potentially not leave New Zealand till grand final day,
Which is huge.
So that becomes a massive,
Yeah.
massive win for them. So I think, I don't know if they'd be thinking about resting players. I think that would be a massive.
If they lose this
goal.
week, it's probably a good shout. Like if they lose to the Bunnies, I think it's this week, isn't it? So like if you
just
lose,
depends on how their season's been, how many of the players who's got injuries, who they're trying to.
Well, they've just lost Metcalf.
Yeah,
The
like
third goal kicking injury in 2 weeks.
They took
Chance has gone for a couple
And
of
Chance
weeks.
2 weeks out.
2 weeks.
For
They
a
took,
drop.
Is Tamari Martin back this week?
No.
And that's still a whiles away.
Yeah, still a couple of
so,
weeks.
so there's a few guys going to be rested. Like Chance will obviously have a
Jet
2-week
clearing
rest. There's a few sort of going through there. Wade Egan, I noticed they pulled him off early, just to look after his workload. So look, they know where they're at with guys and who's missed footy, and that's what it all normally comes down to. You're looking at guys who have got who's nursing injuries, how bad's injury, how much do they need a week off, how big's their season been. Like it's a whole juggling act, and I'm not across all of them, but I know 100% they'll be looking to make a home final, because home final will be such an advantage. If they don't, obviously if they win, they'll then go home again after that. But to be able to go home semi into GF, like that's a massive
You'd
advantage.
almost go close to rubber stamping them for a grand final if they finish top 2, I think.
The first week's going to be tough, no matter who they face.
The first week's a big one,
Yeah.
but as I said, to have it in Auckland and at home is a big advantage. So, I mean, Roosters, they get home. Penrith where would Penrith be? Would
I'd say Combank week 1
would
and
they go
ANZ.
Combank?
They might
They'd
go
go
Combank
Combank.
twice.
Combank? Yeah, so Combank is, that's sort of, it's not
It's a home away from home. It's
Yeah,
not really a
it's
home.
not the
home.
same
Yeah.
advantage, Roosters and Warriors are both. They'll play at Allianz, which is their home, and Warriors will play at Mount Smart or whatever. So, yeah, I think that they're the two who got the biggest advantage from those home semis. But yeah,
Anything for you this week, Benny?
Just that Wise game. I think Warriors, Souths.
They were pretty good last week, South.
They were.
Bulldogs are pretty ordinary, but
yeah, Doggies were disappointing for a game that was basically playing for top 8. Like that was going for top 8. I sort of said weeks ago I didn't think they'd make it. And they had a chance with that game, but that just puts them too clear now. I don't think they can.
Their lack of halves really showed in that game. Like
they just had some bad errors. They had a couple where they opened them up and probably didn't ice opportunities. Like, I missed sitting the game thing, but I went back and watched a lot of the highlights, and there was a few opportunities they left out there that they should have scored, but miss the mark on some execution and defensively, and that has been the big change for the Dogs from last year to this year. A lot of it's been on the defence. Last year they were such a fast moving line, they were working well and everything was in order defensively. And when your defence is good, it just takes pressure off your attack. So,
But they just beat you up. They beat the crap out of teams. And that's what always made it. It was that first 20, 30 minutes of that Dogs where you had the first 20 minutes of the forwards and then the 10 minutes of the fresh ones off the bench. Or even like your likes of Josh Curran and all that coming on. They'd flog you. They kicked to the corner and you just knew if you were taking one of those first 2, 3, 4 hit-ups, you were getting hammered.
fast line speed and all that.
And therefore, as an attack, when you're tired and you're trying to get back behind the line after 20 odd minutes in the gruel, and you just know you've got 3 or 4 players that are rushing up to try and hit you hard, that's the last thing you want on a carry. And I think that almost softened teams up a bit, where they weren't really running back as hard into the line, where they're kind of starting to kind of brace for that impact. So
it was almost the other way around in that South game.
Yeah.
Dave Fafita was great.
Dave Fafita was a man
very
possessed.
good. And their other forwards all went with him. Tallis Duncan's so good. He's a good player.
How far away is Troll?
Hey, come on the Tallis bandwagon.
I'm on
How far
board.
away is Troll?
2 weeks, they're hoping, 2 to 3. So he'll be back for finals.
So he'll come back fresh as it is.
Cody Walker looked great too, actually, in that game. So
You never know today. He might be on the extended today.
he may well be.
We'll see.
More of these mind games, Benny.
Bloody mind games. How dare they not tell us?
I love a mind game. Mate, I love a mind game.
I know, I work with you. All right, now we might go home. Thank you, Jimmy.
Too easy.
Thank you, Benny.
Thank you, Dave.
Leave your thoughts below on everything we've discussed, and we'll do it again next week. Take care, guys.